Hey guys, my husband bet me that I wouldn't do an entire video in this Compton hat, so here we are in the Rock Town, reppin' Compton. Okay, so I think this IXL is going to take you the least amount of time out of all the assignments that I assigned during our social distancing staycation. So kind of what their thought on this is that you can say that a side is to a side as a perimeter is to a perimeter. So like 4 is to 2 as perimeter is to perimeter. So 20 is to P. This is the missing perimeter right here that we're looking for. Wow. And then you can solve it. So you've got 4P is equal to 40. So 2 times 20 is 40. And then divide by 4 and you get P is 10. But because this is a regular figure, I could also just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and get the answer that way. So I guess it sort of depends on what you think is faster or easier for you to work on. So like this is 2, 4, 6, 8. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. You could also say that 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 8 divided by 2 is 4. Or you could set up the proportion like I just showed you a second ago. So the whole first part of this, you're just doing exactly this. So like 1 times 3 is 3, or 3 divided by 3 is 1, so 21 divided by 3 is going to be 7. Or you can count around. This one might not be as obvious, so you might actually have to do something about this, but you can say like, okay, well 9 times 6 was 54, so 8 times 6 is going to be 48, and you can go through these quick, easy, simple. And then you're going to get to where it's asking you to write the ratio. So the ratio is just going to be, and it's asking what is the ratio of the larger to the smaller. So the only trick I want to note here is like the ratio is 6 to 3, but because 6 and 3 are both divisible by 3, then I have to divide this whole thing by 3 and write it as 2 to 1. Okay, so if it can be simplified, if they're both divisible by the same thing, then you're going to have to simplify it. So like this one, 7 is to 4. 7 and 4 aren't divisible by the same number, so I can just give this one as 7 is to 4. 9 is to 5 is 9 can be divided by 3, but 5 is a prime number, so it can only be divided by itself in 1. So, and it just goes on like this. 2 is to 8. Well, 2 and 8 are both divisible by 2. And so I can just divide it by 2, and it becomes 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And so this just becomes 1 is to 4. And it is this easy pretty much the whole time. So you see this is one where I actually have to set up a proportion. This teeny tiny little rectangle here. 0.3 is to 1.7 as 10.2 is to X or P or whatever you want to call it. Solve it, cross multiply, simple. And if I jump ahead for you, when you get into the 80s, it's going to give you the ratio. So it says to solve for U, if the ratio of the perimeters is 2 to 5, so you would say, okay, here's my ratio, 2 to 5. And really, they should have given us, well, they don't have to. This is them saying small first and then big. So 2 to 5 set up as 2 to U. Well, that's interesting because if 2 is equal to 2, then 5 has to be equal to U. If you cross multiply, you're just going to get that 5 back. Okay, so 5. let's see, ratio 38 to 44, divide by 2, simplify. And that's going to take you into the 90s. This will be a really easy one for you to go all the way to 100 to earn bonus points, because I think this is probably the easiest of the IXLs. Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. Maybe hit up Compton at some point. Bye.